I'm just wondering what you're doing.
I've just explained to one of the civic enforcement officers I'm filming.
What are you filming?
Anything I can see from public.
Right, and is there a reason behind that?
It's for a story.
Right, okay. Can I take your details, please?
What would you like my details for?
Because obviously in the interests of public safety and everything like that, when somebody is out filming and having a look around public buildings,
right,
we have a duty of care,
right,
to check you out.
What, a duty of care to whom?
To the general public.
I'm part of the general public?
Yes.
I don't have to give you my details then?
Right, I can just get other people.
Well, other people, I'm still not obliged to give you my details.
I'm asking because at the moment, I don't know whether you are committing any criminal offences in this area.
I'm certainly not.
This gentleman is out filming and is pointing up, looking at all the cameras, and obviously in light of...
Identify the cameras up there?
In light of...
I'm not filming that. I'm filming up there. I was filming up there when this lady approached.
She jumps in with a questioning tone right from the start. Even after Forced Awakenings clearly explains why he's filming, she acts like his reason needs her approval. It doesn't. If something is legal, a person doesn't have to justify it just to satisfy an officer's curiosity. People are allowed to record in public without needing to explain themselves. Next, she asks for his personal details, saying it's about public safety and her responsibility to protect others. That claim doesn't really hold up. Responsibility to care for the public doesn't give officers the right to collect names from anyone simply holding a camera. That kind of authority only applies when there's a clear and specific risk, not just a feeling of uncertainty. The most revealing part comes when she admits she isn't even sure if any rule has been broken. That says a lot. If there's no known offense, there's no solid reason to demand someone's details. You can't ask for personal information just in case something might be wrong. Rules are based on facts, not guesses, and people shouldn't be treated like suspects without a clear reason.
What's the issue?
There isn't an issue.
I'm just wondering why he's filming public buildings.
Yeah, why?
Well, I'm perfectly entitled to film anything I can. Hang on, wait a minute. I'm perfectly entitled to film anything I can see from a public place, including council buildings that are owned by the public.
Okay, we have concerns about public safety.
And your concerns are?
We don't know who you are.
That's not a concern.
It is.
It isn't.
In the day and age that we are in.
Are you accusing me of being a terrorist?
I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but
do you have reasonable suspicion to believe that I'm up to anything other than?
I don't know what you're up to.
Go on to Google filming in public. And even legislation.
Tell me what I need to do.
Right. Well, don't tell me that I need to give you my details when I know that I don't.
I'd like you to move away from this area, please. Otherwise,
you need a section 60. You need to remove somebody from an area without probable cause. You need a section 60.
Well, I'm concerned for public safety and what you are doing in this area.
Well, I've told you what I'm doing in this area.
Well, you need to move away from here now.
When the second officer shows up, the tone doesn't calm down. It actually becomes more fixed. Instead of stepping back and reassessing the situation, they both seem to double down. Filming a council building is treated as unusual, not because of anything he's actually done, but simply because it doesn't match what they expect to see in that moment. That assumption starts to guide the whole interaction. Her focus shifts back to his identity, repeating that she doesn't know who he is. But not recognizing someone isn't a valid reason to demand their details. People don't have to identify themselves just because an officer feels unsure or unfamiliar with them. She then leans on the common in today's world argument, hinting at security concerns without connecting him to anything specific. But general risks or higher alert levels don't turn normal, legal behavior into something suspicious. Without clear facts or evidence, those concerns don't justify treating someone as if they've done something wrong.
I'll move to the other side of the road, if that's all right.
You've obviously got nothing else better to do with your time, have you?
Well, that's not your concern. What I do with my time is nobody's concern but mine.
Fair enough.
Okay. Can I ask you to identify yourself? You haven't got any numbers on your fillets?
1,000.
1,000. And name?
Sarah Bainbridge.
And yours?
2629. You're also on body cam.
Yeah, that's fine. And you're based here?
Yes.
Yeah, excellent.
Well, I'm based out of Darlington.
Right, okay, excellent. Hello there.
Oh yeah, you're all
Hello.
right.
This gentleman is filming. He's now refusing to give any details, and
I'm not obliged to.
I can't understand why he's out filming buildings, council buildings, refusing to give any details in light of the incidents that we're having around the area at the moment.
And those incidents, whatever they may be, no concern of mine, nothing to do with me.
But I don't know who you are, and I can't check you out.
Well, you don't need to.
Yes, I do, because I have a duty of care to the
I'll
public.
tell you what it is, mate. It's anti-terrorism.
There's no terrorist threat at the moment.
But I don't know who you
What
are.
do you mean there's no terrorist threat? At the moment, we're still on high.
When he asks, "Don't you have anything better to do?" the focus shifts away from public safety. It starts to feel more like a personal remark than a professional exchange. That moment shows the situation moving from a calm assessment into something more driven by attitude, and the tone becomes less about facts and more about frustration. She then brings up incidents in the area, suggesting that nearby crime somehow makes him suspicious just for holding a camera. But that's not how it works. Being in a certain place doesn't automatically make someone a suspect. People shouldn't be judged based on location alone, especially when there's no direct link to any wrongdoing. Finally, when the second officer labels it as an anti-terrorism concern, the situation escalates even further. It feels like a big jump, turning a vague sense of discomfort into a serious category without clear reason. Using such a heavy label without solid grounds only raises tension and moves the interaction further away from a fair and balanced approach.
There's no terrorist threat at the moment, and nor has there been over the past 5 years, towards any public buildings.
That's a lie, because there was one yesterday actually.
Was there? Well, I wasn't aware of that.
Well,
where was
there
that?
you go.
So where was
we
that?
don't know.
So here.
Yes, it was actually.
Right.
Yeah,
There's one to the council officers as well.
Right. That's nothing to do with me. No
That's why
concern of
you've
mine.
been
How do we know
Well,
that?
well,
It's just
were
my
they
details.
stood outside with a mobile phone?
Look, we're not getting into this.
Well-
I am now asking you to leave the area because I feel that you,
On what grounds?
because you are alarming the public.
No. Which section of the law? You give me this section of the law, I'll quite happily move.
You just need.
Beg your pardon? I'm just a...
I never said one word.
You liar.
We're filming you as well.
That's fine. It's public.
Just stand
It's
here
perfectly
until you
okay.
move out of the
It's
way.
okay, perfectly okay to film in public, which is what I was explaining to your colleague.
You gave me your details, and I could
Right. So
be happy that there is nothing
my details.
untoward.
My details won't give you any other information.
I would like to check you out
Well-
so that I am happy that I can leave you unattended on
You-
the side
you
of
can.
the road.
When Forced Awakenings asks a simple question, whether the person from that earlier incident was even filming, they avoid it right away. There's no clear reply, no effort to explain, just a quick change of direction. It looks like they're steering away from a point that weakens their argument instead of addressing it properly. Instead, she shifts to saying his actions could worry the public and adds that she wants his details so she can feel comfortable leaving the scene. That reasoning isn't based on any clear rule or standard. It comes across as a personal feeling rather than an objective decision backed by facts to a T that stage. The focus moves away from fair assessment and into personal preference. Decisions shouldn't be based on what makes someone feel better in the moment. Professional conduct relies on clear reasons and evidence, not individual comfort or uncertainty.
You've got no actual reason other than curiosity as to why I'm filming to be stood here
I want
asking.
to know who you are
Well,
to
I
make
don't-
sure.
I don't have to identify myself, and you're well aware of that. I know the law just
Right,
as much
very
as you.
shortly, I will to prevent a breach of the peace.
You can't prevent a breach of the
I
peace
can prevent a
if
breach
none
of
was
the
going to take place. I'm not breaching anybody's peace.
I have colleagues and members of the council staff who are very concerned about why you were out here filming in light of the incident
I'm
yesterday.
filming a story. I'm not filming in light of those incidents.
Well,
Those incidents
until
weren't
I
even
can-
known to me until
I
you made
can
them aware.
Prove or negate either way. All I want is your details to make sure that no members of the public are a threat
They're
by
not.
you. Well,
My details wouldn't give you any more information about that.
people tell me every day
Well,
how good they are.
I'm
and that
not
they
saying
are no
I'm not saying.
threat.
Hang on, I'm not saying I'm good. What I'm saying, I'm not denying either way.
Everybody says all the time with interactions with the police, it wasn't me.
That's because
I'm no threat.
That's because your interaction, instead of accepting what I'm doing is perfectly legal.
She then brings up preventing a breach of the peace, even though there's no sign of trouble at all. There's no conflict, no raised voices, and nothing suggesting things are about to get out of hand. That kind of power isn't meant to be used just because a situation feels uncomfortable. It's there for real, immediate risks, not for what-if scenarios. She also points to concerns from colleagues and council staff, as if that alone justifies stepping in. But concern on its own isn't proof of anything. These are public employees working in a public place, not private individuals protecting their own property. Feeling uneasy doesn't turn a legal activity like filming into something that needs intervention. Then she adds that she can't rely on his explanation because many people say they've done nothing wrong. That's a very broad way of thinking. You can't ignore what's actually happening in front of you just because others have made false claims in the past. Each situation should be judged on its own facts, not on assumptions or general mistrust.
Is to cite laws that don't exist, say that
Cited a law that doesn't
you
exist.
told me that you were going to move me. You can't move me without that section, without the powers under a section.
I have reasonable grounds to believe you.
If you're asking me to move,
Yes.
right, and you can state me a section of the law, I'll move quite happily. That's a perfectly reasonable request.
It's fine because we've got supervision
do you
coming in.
understand what the current level of threat at the moment?
Right, if there has
You know
been,
what evident means, I'm sure you do. You see what intelligent
if there has been a threat yesterday of some sort, then yes, I can understand.
Right. So
But
now you
but
understand.
I wasn't aware of that until you told me.
Right.
And
So now that's why we need your details.
well, you don't need my details.
Yes, we do.
So do you have the details whoever it was who you spoke to yesterday?
You know what's going to happen, right? I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen. You're going to end up getting arrested.
For what?
Right? Listen,
No, for
we're
what?
speaking to a supervision at the moment, okay? Based on the current threat levels and the incident that happened
now we'll
yesterday,
get an
that
order out.
ended up getting seized, okay, under the terrorism laws.
She keeps repeating that she has reasonable grounds. But when he gives her a simple chance to prove it by naming the legal section, there's no answer. No law, no clear power, just silence. That moment speaks for itself. If the authority were solid, it would be easy to explain. Instead, it's left hanging, which raises more questions than answers. You can see the shift right there. Rather than clarifying the legal basis, the conversation starts to lose direction. The lack of a clear explanation weakens the position, and it becomes more about standing firm than actually showing the facts behind it. Then the tone changes again. The second officer grows impatient and quickly moves to threats of arrest, even mentioning taking his camera under terrorism laws. That jump doesn't come from new evidence or any change in the situation. It comes from frustration. Raising your voice or reaching for the strongest powers available doesn't fix a weak argument. It only makes the situation more tense and harder to justify.
Okay?
Your body cameras will also be made public knowledge to me, and I'll use them.
That's fine. I want to know.
I just
we wanna
can't
know
see
who
why
you
you're
are.
being
Well,
so obstructive. We'll
I'm not
come
being
along.
obstructive at all.
Yeah, but
I'm
you
not
are.
obliged. No, there's no obstruction because I'm not obliged by law to give you
Well, that's fine,
unless
you
you
can fight that in court then.
unless you reasonably assume I don't need to because it wouldn't go to court.
Well, you're being
You'd be looking at a lawsuit.
You're being obstructive. I don't care.
I'm not being obstructive at all.
care.
Refusing to give my details when being asked is not an
Listen,
obstruction.
You've asked for our details, okay?
Because I'm, as a member of the public,
Yeah.
and you've been civil servant, you are legally obliged to give me those details upon request.
You've obviously got nothing else better to do.
Well, but that's my concern, not yours.
Yeah.
If I was stood on the other side of the road without a camera, you wouldn't have approached me. It's purely because I'm filming. Filming is a perfectly legal activity.
Because we don't know why you are filming.
But I've told you why I'm filming, for a story,
A story for what?
for YouTube, for my blog.
Right. So who are you? If
I
you-
don't have to identify myself. And you're well aware of the law regarding identification, stop and search powers and procedures.
Telling him to fight in court doesn't show confidence. It sounds more like a fallback line. It's the kind of response people use when they can't clearly support their position in the moment. Forced Awakenings makes a fair point here. If the stop itself isn't valid, it shouldn't even get that far. That's exactly why civil action exists, to challenge situations where the process may be flawed from the start. When the officer responds with "I don't care," it reveals a shift in mindset. That kind of reaction suggests emotion taking over instead of careful judgment. Decisions in this role aren't meant to be based on frustration or who is willing to take a risk. They should be grounded in clear rules and proper reasoning at all times. Then they try to turn it around, saying that because he asked for their details, he should provide his own. But that's not how the rules work. Officers are expected, under their own standards, to identify themselves when asked. Members of the public don't have the same automatic obligation to do so. The two situations aren't equal, and treating them as if they're only adds to the confusion.
It's fine. At the moment, my colleagues are on to senior officers so that we can have a power of stop and search to get your details.
Good luck with that. You're detaining me.
I'm not detaining you.
Oh, so you just said to me I'm not going anywhere at the minute.
Listen, where do you intend to go next? Because I'm just going to follow you, right?
That's no concern of yours.
Right, well listen, I'm just going to follow you because we need to speak to you about what you're doing.
You can follow me wherever you like,
fine,
but
right.
don't tell me that I'm not going anywhere because that's a threat of detainment unlawfully.
Right, listen.
Okay.
Would you like to come back round to the police station
I don't
while
need
we
to.
speak to you?
No, I don't need to.
You don't need
No.
to. Right, where are you going now?
I'm not telling you.
I'm going to follow you then, okay?
You follow me.
Okay.
This is harassment. Yeah, so anyway, I went in to see him and basically fobbed me off back to his offices most of the way. He did say that they would be doing some training over sort of data protection and dealing with photographers. Whether they did or not, I don't know. I didn't take it any further. I wasn't after them for money. It's not why I do this. It's just to show them as the bullies that they were, and hopefully they'll learn the lesson.
What stands out most here isn't just the initial stop, it's how long it continues. When a clear legal basis isn't immediately available, there's no step back to reassess the situation. Instead, it feels like the focus shifts toward finding a power that matches the outcome they already want. Other officers are brought in, and senior staff are consulted, all seemingly to build after-the-fact justification for requesting personal details. But that isn't how proper decision-making should work. The correct process is simple. Establish the grounds first, then act. It shouldn't be about deciding the action first and then trying to find a rule that fits it later. Then things continue even after the interaction ends. Once Forced Awakenings disengages and walks away, an officer follows him and asks where he's going, as if simply moving through a public space needs supervision. Saying, "We might need to speak to you," isn't a legal justification on its own. It's only a vague statement. If there is a real lawful reason,